Welcome back to the English Prep Podcast, everyone. Today we're diving deep into essay writing for those big exams, TOEFL, IELTS.
Yeah, it's a big one. Lots of learners find it pretty challenging.
Definitely. But we want to show you that actually having a good structure, a clear approach, can make a huge difference. It's not just magic.
Exactly. People often worry about perfection, getting every single word right. But honestly, for a good score, especially when you're at that intermediate stage, it's much more about clarity, how well you organize and present your ideas.
Right. So our mission today is to kind of break down that process, make it feel less scary, give you some practical things you can actually use straight away.
Moving beyond just grammar rules and vocab lists, Getting into the core of building a solid essay.
Okay, so where do we kick things off? What's step one?
Well, it really starts with understanding the question, the prompt itself.
Sounds simple, but I guess it's easy to mess up.
Oh, definitely. People rush it, or they misunderstand what's actually being asked. And if you write a brilliant essay about the wrong thing, well, you lose marks right there.
Yeah, it makes sense, like setting off on a journey without checking the map properly. So how do we make sure we've got it right?
A really good trick is to zoom in on the keywords, especially the verbs. What are they asking you to do? Agree or disagree, discuss, analyze a problem, and suggest solutions.
Okay, finding the action words.
Exactly. Underlining them can physically help you focus on the specific task. Is it asking for one thing or maybe two or three?
Let's use an example. A common one is something like, some people believe the best way to reduce crime is longer prison sentences. Others think there are better ways. Discuss both views and give your opinion.
Perfect example.
Yes.
So if you underline the key words there, what jumps out?
Well, definitely discuss both views and, crucially, give your opinion.
Precisely. So you know straight away, okay, I can't just argue for one side. I have to cover both perspectives.
Yeah.
And I must state my own view and explain why.
Right. If you miss one of those parts, you haven't fully answered the question.
Exactly. Examiners are looking for that ability to handle different viewpoints and then form your own logical conclusion based on them.
Okay, so we've really dug into the question. We know what we need to do. Do we just start writing now?
Hold on. Not quite yet. Before you take a single sentence of your intro, it's super helpful to take, say, just 3 to 5 minutes to brainstorm.
The planning stage, just jotting down ideas.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need to be full sentences, just keywords, main points for each side of the argument, maybe a quick example that springs to mind.
So for that crime essay, maybe jot down deterrence and justice for the long sentences view.
Mm-hmm. And for the other side, maybe rehabilitation, education, cost, whatever comes up.
And your own opinion, too, like combination approach best.
Yep, just a quick note.
Yeah.
And maybe even a couple of good vocabulary words you want to try and use. It just gets the wheels turning.
And how does this quick brainstorm help when we actually start writing?
Well, first, it keeps you focused on the actual question you just analyzed. Second, it gives you a sort of mini-map for your essay, so you're less likely to wander off track or repeat points.
Takes away some of that blank page fear, too, I guess.
Totally. You've already got some raw material to work with. It makes starting much easier.
Okay, question understood, initial ideas down. What's next for building this high-scoring essay?
Structure, structure, structure. Examiners really value a logical flow. An essay that's clearly organized is just so much easier to follow and understand.
Makes sense. So what's the standard, reliable structure we should aim for?
You can't go far wrong with the classic. Introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion. Nice and clear.
Okay, let's break that down, the introduction.
Right. In your intro, you want to do a few key things. First, paraphrase the question. Put it into your own words. Don't just copy it.
Good tip.
Then, briefly state what the essay will cover. And critically, you need your thesis statement.
Ah, yes, the thesis statement. Everyone talks about that. What exactly is it, and why is it so important?
Think of it as the absolute core of your essay. It's your main argument, your position, all summed up in one or maybe two sentences. It tells the reader exactly what you're going to argue.
So it's more than just saying, this essay is about crime.
Oh, much more. A weak thesis might be something vague, like there are different views on crime. Doesn't tell us much.
Right, kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah. A strong thesis, for our example, could be something like, while longer prison sentences might seem like a deterrent, focusing on education and rehabilitation actually offers a more sustainable, long-term solution to reducing crime.
Ah, okay. That's specific. It tells me your stance and hints at the arguments you'll make, education and rehabilitation versus just deterrence.
Exactly. It sets the direction for the entire essay. Everything in your body paragraphs should connect back to supporting that thesis.
Got it. So the intro sets the scene and states the main argument. Then we move into the body paragraphs.
Yep, the middle section. This is where you develop your points. Each body paragraph should really focus on one main idea that supports your thesis.
One idea per paragraph.
Ideally, yes. Start with a clear topic sentence that states that main idea. Then you need to explain it. Give reasons, provide evidence, maybe use an example.
Like statistics or a real-world case.
Sure, if you have one. Or just logical reasoning. And then try to wrap up the paragraph with a sentence that subtly links back to your main thesis, reinforcing your argument.
Okay. And for exams like TOEFL or IELTS, how many body paragraphs are we usually talking about? 2, 3.
Usually, 2 well-developed body paragraphs are pretty standard and often sufficient. For our crime essay, you can have 1 paragraph discussing the longer sentences view, maybe with its pros and cons.
Right.
And the second body paragraph could then explore the alternatives view, education, rehabilitation again, explaining and giving examples, perhaps like successful programs in certain countries.
Okay, building the argument brick by brick. Makes sense. Then finally the conclusion. What's its job?
The conclusion is your chance to wrap everything up neatly. You should briefly summarize the main points you've discussed in the body paragraphs.
A quick recap.
Exactly. And then restate your thesis statement, but try to phrase it a little differently than you did in the introduction. Shows vocabulary range.
Okay, avoid sounding repetitive.
And a really nice touch is to end with a final thought-provoking comment, maybe a prediction or a recommendation related to the topic. Leaves the reader with something to think about.
Provides that sense of closure. Right. Yeah. Now, within all this structure, how do we make the writing actually flow smoothly from one idea to the next?
Good question. That's where linking words and phrases, sometimes called transitions, come in. They're like the glue holding your essay together.
Signposts for the reader.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They guide the reader through your logic. Words like firstly, secondly, in addition, moreover, to add points.
Okay. What about showing contrast?
Crucial ones there are. However, on the other hand, nevertheless, despite this, they signal you're shifting to an opposing idea.
And for finishing up or showing results.
Therefore, consequently, as a result, in conclusion, to sum up, all things considered, lots of options there.
Could you use one in our crime example, just to illustrate?
Sure. You might have a sentence like, supporters believe longer sentences deter potential criminals effectively. Then, starting the next point, you could say, however, evidence suggests that the root causes of crime are often more complex than simply a lack of punishment. See how however instantly signals that shift.
Yeah, it clearly marks the change in direction. Very useful. Okay, let's talk language. Grammar and vocabulary. They're obviously important, but what should intermediate learners really focus on? Do we need perfect grammar?
Definitely not perfect. Examiners know you're learning. But consistent basic errors can really obscure your meaning and lower your score.
So what are the key areas then?
I'd say focus on getting subject-verb agreement right, making sure your verb tenses are consistent throughout the essay, constructing clear sentences, avoiding fragments or long, rambling run-on sentences.
The fundamentals.
Exactly. And, articles. A and the. They seem small, but incorrect use can really affect clarity for the reader. Getting those basics solid is more important than trying really complex grammar you're unsure about.
But should we still try to show some grammatical range?
Yes, if you can do it accurately. Showing you can use different sentence structures, like combining simple sentences into compound or complex ones, is definitely a plus.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Instead of long sentences might deter some people, education programs help others, you can combine them. Although long sentences might deter some potential offenders, education programs are often seen as more effective in preventing reoffending. Just sounds a bit more sophisticated.
Right. It links the ideas more fluidly. What about vocabulary? Do we need to learn tons of really fancy academic words?
Not necessarily fancy. The key is precision and variety. Avoid repeating the same basic words over and over again, like good, bad, thing.
Yeah, those get used a lot. What are better alternatives?
Well, instead of good, maybe beneficial, effective, advantageous, positive. Instead of bad, try detrimental, harmful, negative, disadvantageous. Instead of thing, maybe issue, factor, aspect, element.
Okay, using more specific words?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also think about word families. If you know educate, you also know education, educational, educator. Using different forms of a word shows flexibility.
Good point. And what about informal language?
Definitely avoid it in academic essays. So no kids use children, no stuff use materials, items, factors. Keep the tone relatively formal.
So building that academic vocabulary bank is important. Maybe keep a notebook.
Absolutely. Jot down new words with their meanings, maybe an example sentence. Review them regularly. It really helps.
Okay, this is all great practical advice, but the clock is ticking in the exam. How do we manage the time pressure?
Time management. It's crucial. You can have great ideas, but if you run out of time, you can't get them down. Having a plan is key.
So for a typical, say, 40-minute IELTS Task 2 essay, what would be a realistic time plan?
Okay, 40 minutes, I'd say. First, 3 to 5 minutes. Analyze the prompt carefully, underline keywords, quick brainstorm. Next 5 minutes. Sketch out your essay plan. Intro points, main ideas for body paragraphs, conclusion idea. Next 25 minutes, roughly. This is your main writing time. Focus on getting your ideas down clearly, following your plan. Final 5 minutes, essential time for proofreading and editing. Don't skip this.
Right. Those last 5 minutes aren't for adding new ideas, they're for fixing mistakes.
Precisely. You'd be amazed what errors you can spot with fresh eyes, even after just 25 minutes of writing.
So what should we look for when proofreading? Just typos.
Go beyond typos. Ask yourself specific questions. Did I actually answer all parts of the question? Does each paragraph have one clear main point? Are my verbs in the correct tense? Did I use transition words? Are there any sentences that are confusing or incomplete?
A targeted checklist.
Yes. Even fixing a few small errors, a subject-verb agreement mistake, a missing article can boost your score and improve clarity.
Okay, so we've walked through the whole process from understanding the prompt to proofreading. What's the final, maybe most important piece of advice?
Practice. And not just writing essays, but getting feedback on them.
Makes sense. You need to know what you're doing well and where you need to improve.
Exactly. Use real sample prompts. Write under timed conditions sometimes. And then, if possible, get someone, a teacher, a tutor, even a language exchange partner, who's proficient to read your essay and give you honest feedback.
Are there online tools or services that can help too?
Yes, there are many. Some AI writing tools can offer feedback on grammar, coherence, even vocabulary use. Formal writing correction services exist too. Just getting another perspective is incredibly valuable. The more feedback you get, and crucially act on, the quicker you'll see improvement.
So to kind of wrap up, writing a high-scoring essay isn't really about having some magical writing talent, is it?
Not at all. It's much more about understanding the task, having a clear plan, organizing your thoughts logically, supporting your ideas, and then taking the time to review and refine your work. It's about communication.
Clear, structured communication.
That's the goal. Focus on those elements, practice consistently, get feedback, and you'll definitely see your essay writing improve.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully this deep dive has given all you listeners preparing for TOEFL or IELTS some really solid strategies and maybe a bit more confidence tackling those essays.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Next time you sit down to write a practice essay, try focusing on improving just one thing we talked about today.
Like maybe just the thesis statement.
Or maybe consciously using more transition words. Or focusing on subject-verb agreement during proofreading. Just pick one small thing. You might be surprised how much impact that focused effort can have on the overall quality of your writing.
Great advice. Focus on incremental improvements. Thanks so much for breaking that all down for us today.
My pleasure. Good luck to everyone with their practice.